Well, it looks like what many of us knew was going to happen is indeed happening. So, the latest update with the Sean Urbanski trial is that the hate crime charges that the defense wanted so badly to have dropped against Sean Urbanski have been dropped. So the defense got their wish. That's all, and that's pretty much all they wanted was the hate crime charges to be dismissed. And I guess somehow, some way, they must have convinced the judge between yesterday and today that this was no act of hate, even with all the evidence pointing that he was a part of these racist white supremacist groups, and he specifically targeted the black man out of the three people that was there, between him, a white male, and an Asian female. And that's what they decided to come up with. And that's the scary part right there, because that right there would have been the nail in the coffin for sure, that he would get life in prison. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this article and see what else it says. It says a judge has dropped a hate crime charge against a white Maryland man in the fatal stabbing of a black Bowie State University student in College Park in 2017. Sean Urbanski is on trial for killing Lieutenant Richard Collins III during an altercation while Collins was visiting friends on the University of Maryland College Park campus in May 2017. Collins was just days away from graduating from Bowie State. The defense has rested. Jurors are set to hear closing arguments on Wednesday. The prosecution rested its case on Tuesday. That day, a judge declined a motion by the defense to throw out hate crime and first-degree murder charges against Urbanski. So, like I said, it's amazing what happens or what changes in the matter of a day. Just yesterday, the judge said that they were not going to throw out the hate crime charge and it was going to stay. The next day, I don't know what the defense did or what rabbit they pulled out of their hat to make the judge change his mind and to ultimately drop the hate crime charge. That's all the defense wanted to do anyway, because they were also questioning whether or not Sean Urbanski was going to take the stand. Now, I think they probably would have did that if the judge had stuck to his guns and let the hate crime charge stick. But now that the hate crime charge has been dropped, there's no point, especially now they're resting. So now the only thing now that's left to do is for the prosecution to pretty much convince the jury to sentence Sean Urbanski to life in prison. He can still get the life in prison, but I'm going to continue reading. The murder charges against Urbanski faces still stand. Prosecutors had argued a number of racist memes found on Urbanski's phone and his membership in the now defunct Facebook group Alt-Right Nation showed hate was the motive. The defense, however, said there was no evidence the incident was based on race, instead arguing he was drunk, possibly 3 times the legal limit at the time of the stabbing. And see, the thing is, they can convince people enough that that's what it was. You know what they're probably going to say? They're probably going to say it was an accident. And it would bring down the murder down to something like manslaughter, in which he would not get life in prison. If they bring this down to a lesser charge, which I believe now can be argued because the hate crime charge is off the table and he gets manslaughter, he won't do that much time in jail. He probably won't even do 10 years, if that. Urbanski's defense showed video of him singing and rambling in his holding cell following his arrest, and said he also urinated in the cell, arguing he was too drunk to form the intent for first-degree murder. Jurors can decide on a lesser charge if they choose. Like I said, now that the hate crime is off the table, there's a very small chance that he may not even get the life in prison without parole. Witnesses who were with Collins' mother outside the courtroom said she collapsed in a ball of tears when she heard the news. I bet she did. Now it's getting even more interesting in a more of a stay on the edge of your seat type of deal right now. But I'm not surprised that they dropped the hate crime charges and everything like that. They hate charging people with hate crime charges. Look at what they did with Dylan Roof. They were questioning giving him hate crime charges, mainly because in the state of South Carolina, believe it or not, they didn't even have a hate crime law on the books up until that point. So it makes you wonder how many times people like him have gotten away with what should be deemed as a hate crime. And the thing is, Maryland has a hate crime law. But now that this, like I said, this was the ammunition right here that the defense needed, was for this hate crime charge to be dropped. If they could not convince them today that the charge could be dropped, they would have had to hang it up. But now there's I guess you can say, a shrivel of hope for them as on their client's behalf. So now it really all relies on the prosecutors to give a very good damn closing argument to the jury tomorrow, and that the jury actually knows what they're doing and takes all into consideration that this man straight up murdered him, and that's the only way that he'll most likely get life without parole. Otherwise, if they can't find him guilty on now, because now they got to rely on the first degree murder charges. That's what they got to rely on. They got to hope that the jury can come to a unanimous decision that he murdered Richard Collins III with the intent to murder him. That's what they have to convince the jury tomorrow. It just made their job even harder because the judge dropped the hate crime charges. I'll talk to y'all in the next one.